Thanks again for making the time today to be here and learning more about your students' math class and their math teacher, me, Mrs. Barr. So, a typical day in math class, students are coming in to class before the bell. They're in their seats. They have their charged Chromebook out and they're writing down their lesson purpose in their math notebook. From there, the lesson purpose is on the board. We'll talk about homework questions if they have any, and we'll get started on our lesson. So what's great about using Google Classroom is that students have the opportunity to ask homework questions ahead of time, and even the whole class has an opportunity to engage in that math discussion to help each other out. So the interactive math notebook, I'm sure you've seen your students' math notebook already. It's a daily entry where students are learning how to be organized and take notes. Taking notes is a really important part of the learning process. I know if I don't write it down, I'm probably not going to remember it. And if student is absent, they are still responsible for our daily entries. They can always get that from me or another student. The teacher worked out answer keys are linked for each lesson on my class calendar. And there are notebook checks where these are graded for completion as a resource, not if their handwriting's super nice. So here's the format that I give my students to follow for their interactive notebooks. So with the title of our lesson, it might be 1.1a, solving equations, then our lesson purpose and our notes. I know my notes might look different than someone else's, and I really encourage students to write down what they need to in their notes. Again, these are graded mainly for completeness and organization. Can they use these as a resource? Not is their handwriting the neatest. Students should be able to use these if they get stuck on homework. So if you ever have a student at home struggling on homework, a great resource for them is, hey, let's go back to our notebook or our Desmos lesson and see if there's a similar problem. Module calendar, one of the most amazing tools for you and your student to be using. It is a calendar what we're doing each day in class for our lesson and what is for homework that day. Includes dates of assessments and due dates for assignments. Teacher worked out answer key is linked on the lesson, and it also includes quiz and test overviews, how many questions are going to be on the exam and what those questions are. It's linked in your student's Google Classroom and on my website. Aries, another amazing tool for you to use. I have almost 200 math students, which means to communicate with every single one of their amazing parents, I use Aries. And that is where I update grades about 1 to 3 times per week. Again, if you notice that your student is missing any work or they got a poor score, ask them to see if there's any comments in Google Classroom from me. There might be some feedback there that's really important for them to read. I really encourage you to start having conversations with your students about Aries and having conversations, discussions back and forth, not just chats and talks. Again, I'm only human and entering that many grades. I could make a mistake. So communicate with your student. If there's still discrepancy, please have them advocate an email or leave me a Google Classroom or stop by my classroom to talk with me. We really want them to be responsible for their learning and get used to talking to teachers. And I think I'm a pretty good teacher to start that conversation with and feeling comfortable talking to teachers. No late work is accepted. So there's no late work accepted for this course unless it's an excused absence. If a student is missing an assignment, they can attend Seahawk support to earn credit. Seahawk support is about twice a month on a Monday or a Thursday, and it's 3 to 4:30 in the Cove, and students can attend. It's hosted by some Earl Warren teachers, and students can get the missing work turned in and write a note to that teacher to earn credit for it. Students do need to stay the whole time, so no leaving early for sports or appointments. And it's a great place for, even if it's just you forgot to press turn in or forgot an assignment, that work can already be done and you can use that time to catch up or get ahead on other work. Homework hour, another amazing place for your student to get help. Homework hour is before school every day except late starts and at lunch in a different teacher's room. The pink highlighted teachers here are math teachers. Your student can get help from any math teacher on our campus. Doesn't just have to be Mrs. Barr. Homework hour is a great place to go in and ask for help on homework, a quiet place to work on homework, or to ask for extra practice or help with extra practice. Your student support page linked on this presentation, which is linked on my website, also linked on my website, is a great place for you if you want the whole entire homework packet or instead of each individual one linked on Google Classroom, and also videos and extra practice. So videos and extra practice per module, linked per section and per topic. So a fabulous place to go. And I highly recommend about 20 to 40 minutes of extra math beyond just what the homework is to really stay sharp on those skills. More important information about our course syllabus is linked here, which you've seen at the beginning of this year. Our grades are made up of 65% assessments and weighted 35% on assignments. Exit tickets. What's awesome is that your student has an exit ticket for each lesson that we do. So after we do the lesson in class and then they do the homework and have the chance to ask questions, they do an exit ticket. So these exit tickets, there's no retake, so they need to check it before submitting. It is counted as an assessment, so they should be doing these on their own. Of course, they can use their homework and class notes to complete, but they should be finding their answers independently. These are all the modules that we will cover this year. We're covering 7 modules. It's a great mix of math topics and concepts that are building on our 7th grade curriculum, and also getting ready, building some strong foundations for what we'll see next year in math. If you have any technology issues, please communicate those with me, your teacher, before the homework deadline if possible. I can be compassionate and helpful, but not if I don't know what's going on. If there's a tech issue that I can't help you with, or it's something that is not really math related, please visit the Tech Hub. That's a really good resource for figuring out Aries and other school apps like that. And then Miss Annie, our Learning Commons Tech, is a wonderful resource to help you out. Absent work. When possible, if students can turn in and meet deadlines on Google Classroom, that's fabulous. Otherwise, for excused absences, students can earn credit for late or missing work. Just make sure they're giving me a comment when that work is completed, because I don't get notifications for late or missing work when it's turned into Google Classroom, so I won't know to update Aries unless they ask me nicely. Correcting homework. Really important that students are correcting their homework with the answer key before turning in their work and coming to class. This is the best way that they're going to get immediate feedback from their practice. They know what they have to work on. So if you're doing the homework in one color, correcting in another easy to see color. I prefer red for corrections, but something that I can read, maybe not highlight or yellow, hurts my old lady eyes. And then what's great is students can ask questions in Google Classroom and help each other out, or we can also talk about them in class. For correction, students are required to try the problem. If it's wrong, mark it wrong and write the correct answer. If they can go back and show the work, that's a great job. So some homework options. I encourage students to use their school-issued Chromebook using the touchscreen device like Google Classroom app or Kami. Doing their work, correcting it, turning it in. Double check that what you are submitting is completed so that you get full credit. If people like paper copies, they can always print the work, complete it, show their work, correct it, and scan it in. It's important that these scans are one document and a PDF. Images show up super tiny, so if there's 3 pages and 3 images, I have to click on each image and bring it into a new window and zoom in to see that work. If you like a blend of paper and digital, you can always look at the screen, write down the problem number and the original problem, and show your work, correct, and scan in. If you have more questions about scanning, here's a really helpful slide about some apps depending on the device you're using. And again, always check your scan before you submit, because if I can't read your work, I can't give you credit. If you need help, Miss Annie in the Learning Commons, in the Cove, attendance counseling, general questions, all those wonderful people are there to help you. And hopefully I'll see you at promotion in June. Feel free to email me if you have any questions as we're getting into the swing of things.